Welcome to my channel. My name is Patricia Bright and you are over here on The Break. I hope you are doing well. So I feel a little bit dressed up today, I wanted to look expensive and put together because I wanted to talk about why cheap can actually end up costing you more. And I hate to say it because I am someone who's about spending a little bit less but also enjoying luxuries, and I'm totally about investing in yourself and doing what you need to do, and I know that that involves budgeting and saving, but there are times where being cheap and cutting costs all the time are really not worth the effort and the energy. I know lots of people are on budgeting journeys or financial journeys and are wanting to save more money, and they think that being cheap is going to be the way to get there, but I'm here to say that is not always the case. And I've learned to enjoy a little luxury, spend a little more and invest in myself when I need to, as well as be frugal. Cut that subscription, don't buy the Deliveroo, and save money like a boss. So today I'm gonna explore when being cheap is not actually good. There is a saying that's out there that if you buy cheap, you buy twice. And there are many a times that I've seen that come to play in my actual life, and by hiring certain people or trying to do certain projects myself that I really can't do, I've realized that sometimes when I try and cover certain costs, or I try to find the shorter or the cheaper version, it ends up being worse in the end. And I completely understand that sometimes we don't all have the resources to have what we want straight away. So instead we try and find the cheaper option or the fake option or the dupe, and sometimes it's just never as good. Now sometimes there's a great old bargain out there, because I'm not going to say that just because something costs more it's better. That is not always the case, but let's keep it real. You don't always need to look for the bargain bottom dollar item that is out there. Poundland is not your friend a lot of the time. So one of the first reasons as to how being cheap can cost you more is because you end up in the sales trap. Yeah, Black Friday, anybody? Are there times that you're like, oh my gosh, that only costs like $3.99, I'll buy 6 of them? You end up actually paying for way more things than you need to. You might end up buying more of an item just because it was affordable, and they do this with sales. There are free tops at $3.99 and you end up buying all of them when you didn't need them. You didn't even need one of those tops, but because you could see an item or a product or something for cheaper, you end up getting it. So you end up being caught up in the cycle of thinking, well, this is affordable, so I might as well get it. But you don't end up in the thought of, do I actually need this thing? And this is how companies make money, particularly during sales and by doing these offers and these discounts. Like, come on, this is cheaper now, you need this. And before you even get the chance to think about if you actually need something, you're caught in that sales cycle. I've done this. I bought a waffle iron. Do I need a waffle iron? Do I make the waffles? But is it because the waffle iron was cheaper that I got the waffle iron? Yes it was. I got the waffle iron because it was on sale and I never used it. Sometimes when something is cheap, it's cheap for a reason. And that reason is because it's crap. It's dead. It doesn't work. It doesn't do what it says on the tin. It is a bottom dollar cheap version that you don't need. It's gonna break down. You're gonna need to repair it. You're gonna need to refix it. It's not gonna last very long. This happens a lot with cheap clothing that gets worn once. A lot of times cheap things are not fit for purpose. And yes, at the time it's nice and you've got it. You've taken it home. You've used it once. But when you wanna use it again and again and again, it's breaking down on you. It does not compute, it's not working. And actually it can end up costing you more if you're having to replace an item, if you're having to throw away an item and then buy another one. And actually if you had just invested in the right one first, you'll actually end up saving more money. Now, this is not to say that things that are more expensive are always better quality. That is not always true. But if something is cheap, and especially if it looks extra cheap, there could be a reason why that is. If you go for the cheapest builder and then your house falls down, well, there might have been a reason why. If you get the cheap burger every single day, the 99p McDonald's burger every single day, and you wonder why your arteries are getting clogged up, there might be a reason why. I know people really want to bargain quite consistently, but there is time where quality does matter, and you can associate certain qualities to price. You got that shirt for £1. £1. No wonder there's a hole in it after one wash. The money that you might have spent on the cheap item and multiple times of replacing it or getting another one or getting another one, all these cheap items, you might have ended up getting on one really good quality item. I know that sometimes people want more, but sometimes less is more, particularly if it is of a higher quality. As they say, quality over quantity. I think this is a psychological aspect, but sometimes when you pay more for something, you care about it more, you look after it more, and it lasts you a lot longer. However, sometimes when you buy something that's a bit more cheaper, like because you know it was cheap, you don't feel the same level of sentiment towards it. I know I'm like this with like some of my cheaper handbags. I like throw them around, I lose them, and like, oh, where's it gone? Like, but I wouldn't do that to my expensive things. When I have my expensive things, I look after them. They are pristine, they're in a box, they get looked at, they get the love that they deserve. And maybe that's just the way I am as a person, but I do think there's an aspect of when you've really worked hard for something, you've invested in it, you've paid for it, it's actually had there's been a little bit of pain to get that thing, you treat it with more respect and you really care about it, and so you use it more productively and it adds more value to your life than something that was like just a cheap, like whatever, I spent $2.99 on that, I spent $1. I don't care about that thing that I spent zero money on. Oh, it's so cheap. And even though you spent a little on it, it still adds up. And because you don't see much value in that thing that you paid cheaply for, you are more than likely to go and buy a replacement because you don't really like the thing that you've got. So sometimes spending more on something that really has taken a little bit of blood, sweat and tears is a good thing because you respect that item a little bit more, and so it becomes more valuable to you in the long run. Being cheap can be a waste of your damn time. And this is the principle of the time value of money. Your time, your life is way more valuable than just saving money. And I heard this story from like a millionaire. He was sharing the story of his dad not wanting to spend money on a gardener. And so he would say, why would you pay for a gardener? You could do the gardening yourself, or you can mow the lawn yourself. And he's like, if it takes me an hour and a half to mow and I can pay someone £30 or $30 to mow the lawn, when for an hour of my time I can make £1,000, why would I spend £30 doing that thing? And I know sometimes people don't want to spend the money on something that they think that they could do DIY themselves or do quickly themselves, or not invest in doing that thing because they want to save the money. But actually that thing could end up taking your time, and your time could be used better elsewhere. I've had to learn this even when it's come to certain meetings. I don't need to be at absolutely everything. There's far more other ways that I could be using my time that are more productive. And actually I'm losing out on money by doing this thing that's taking up my time. Sometimes just pay for it. Pay the experts, pay the professionals, pay the person who's better at doing something than you are doing, so you can use your time effectively elsewhere. I actually think sometimes that being cheap can cost you more in the way it makes you feel about yourself. And I think this is all about mindset. I think sometimes when you're always being really cheap, you have a mindset of there isn't enough. You have a mindset of there's lack. And I think it's really important to have a mindset of abundance. There's always enough. If you can be creative enough, if you can be productive enough, you will have options. Don't minimize yourself when you don't need to. Of course, be within your budget, be wise, but don't feel like there isn't enough, so I've got to be cheap. And it can cost you from your peace, your mindset, and even your relationship. If you're always frugal, if you're always cheap, if you're not giving, if you're not living abundantly, it can actually impact the people around you. And I know life is hard sometimes, but it's important to have moments that you enjoy. Invest in yourself. If you want to get that, 3-course meal, get that meal. I'm not saying every day, but get it. You saw that suit, you saw that jacket, you saw that thing. If you've worked hard enough for it, get the thing. Treat yourself. It's okay. Life is all about balance, and you don't want a cheap mindset. Even if you don't have the resources today, you will one day. But what you want to do is have an abundant mindset, so that if there is something that you want and you can get the resources together, you feel confident enough in yourself to, do you know what? Make that investment in yourself and get that thing. You don't have to be a bargain hunter all the time. Another thing when it comes to like time, I've seen people like right? They'll spend hours couponing. I see that on these shows, right? They spend hours couponing, driving to different shops to get an extra $1 or £1 offer from a shop that's like 30 miles away. Like, it's not that deep. Like, you actually end up wasting time and thus wasting money, all in the name of a bargain. So guys, I know we talk about saving, budgeting, making money, being rich, woohoo, yeah, and of course, being wise with your money is important. It doesn't always mean to be cheap, and there's definitely times where being cheap can cost you more. So I think if you're ever thinking about spending or not spending, have a think about this video, have a think about what is the value of this thing that I'm gonna get before you make a purchase, and don't feel bad to just enjoy a little bit. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. I know it was quick and easy, but I wanted to just reflect on this point because it has been in my head, because I've been a bargain hunter for a long time, but I also like a couple of luxuries. Okay guys, thank you for watching, and in the meantime, I'll catch you all later. Bye.